Hey, you just blew my mind, and I haven't even finished my thoughts in response to it. And this will seem unrelated, but I just wanted to share. Um, it's because of a dream in which the word apocalypse appeared in a strange way. And in the dream, I knew it was a. Anyways, I'll get to the word later. I thought I'd share the dream first, skipping the part about that word. Um, and then go into that. Now, dreams can get kind of hard to discuss because they seem so unreal. And I've been told you can't read in dreams, but I remember there was a dream I clearly had where I had a remote control, and I forget what the word was, but I clearly read a word off that remote control. And the reason why discussing dreams can be so tricky is because you can easily get into a semantic argument about that. Well, did you really read the word, or was it just your brain uh, telling you that you were reading? And that just seems like stupidity to me because um, if you're going to go there, then do you ever really read, right? I mean, yeah, I admit that in my dream, my eyeball wasn't taking in the shapes of letters, but I saw text as far as my brain interpreted it. Anyways, that's a sidetrack. They also say you can't die in dreams, and I admit that in this dream I didn't experience my death, but I knew I was dead. And I approached a house. It actually was shaped like the house of a friend of mine named Mike. Um, we were friends, yeah, starting when we were like 4 or so, through maybe the start of middle school. He was a year behind me, so we kind of drifted apart over time from being, in different classes and associating with different people. But this house was only shaped like theirs, and it was on a lake, and it was 2 stories, and it kind of had a garage, uh, yeah, like a garage off to one side, and then like the main house on the other, and it was kind of bent. Um, and the entrance was in that joint where you walked in. Um, and this house was on a lake, uh, Lake Makatawa. And this wasn't just a house, though. It was a funeral home. And I was approaching to attend my own funeral. And so I walked in the entrance at the joint of the, where the middle of the building, basically, where it bent. And there was a 2-story vestibule. There were stairs that led up, but it was fairly open. Sorry, I'm trying to use your vertical, but um, my vertical is different, so deal with it. So yeah, these stairs led up around. That's not important. There was in the center there was like a statue or something, and this vestibule separated a private area used by the owners of the funeral home and the public area that was used for visitations and viewings. And so I moved in that way, and my coffin was there, and I knew my body was inside, but I didn't want to go over there, and people I knew were there. But I didn't really experience any emotion until I walked out the back of the viewing room onto the lawn outside overlooking the lake. And the sun was setting, and it was brilliant colors, reds and magentas, oranges. And there were gentle waves across the lake, and a few sailboats quietly moving across it. And I was so impressed by the wonder of the scene. It was sublime. And I felt connected with life and with the meaning of it. I felt like for the first time I understood it, and that this was only occurring because I had passed it. And I began I began crying because of the intensity of the emotion that filled me. And then I woke up and I was crying. This is the only dream that I've had that I cried during. I gained consciousness, and my face was already wet. It was, and I was still crying. It fascinated me because it seemed to betray what I understood about sleep and dreams and the shift between sleep and consciousness. So yeah, it was definitely a powerful, meaningful dream. Now the odd thing is, when I was approaching the building, and this was one of the most curious things about the dream, surprisingly, I knew that this vestibule was had a name, and that name was Apocalypse. The As if the people of the funeral home referred to this transition room between floors, and between their space and the viewing room, between the two wings of the house, uh, the transition from the outside to the inside. It was as if they always just called it the apocalypse. As if they might say something like, "Where are the pamphlets for the next funeral?" "Oh, I already put them on the end table in the apocalypse." And I knew that it was casual like that for some reason. And the reason what you said just blew my mind is I did not know the origin of that word. And I'm going to take your word for it, that it refers to a leather cover, which I would assume would be for a book. And you talked about, the apocalypse uh, being peeling away that cover, that which conceals uh, what's inside. And that adds new meaning to my dream, because that room was significant. It's what I walked through as a ghost to enter my funeral. So yeah, I need to think about all this more, because it stirs a lot of questions. But thanks for the etymology, I guess. Wow, good timing. I love you.